Okay, so what years were you in the war?
1942 to 1945.
And what plane did you fly?
B-17.
Could you name some of the people that were in your troop?
Well, I knew my crew members, but I only flew on my missions with my crew members like no times. I never flew with my crew.
Look into the camera, because you're talking to the camera.
My co-pilot's name was Jack Hickey. My navigator was George N. Mullen. And my co-pilot, my pilot was Woody J. Woodruff.
What kind of bombs did you use?
We used all kinds of bombs. We used big ones, little ones, incendiary, 1,000-pounders, 500-pounders, 100-pounders, and fire bombs.
Mom, do you have any questions?
Yeah, tell us about where did you fly from, and where did you fly from, Papa?
We flew from Foggia, Italy, to Germany, Czechoslovakia. We flew to Romania. We flew to Munich. We flew to Vienna. We flew to Ploesti. We flew all over southern Germany and as far north as Czechoslovakia.
How many missions did you do, Papa?
We flew 51. I flew 51 missions, which was actually 36 times over the target. They gave us 2 missions for some of the longer missions that we were up in the air for 8 to 10 hours.
How'd you celebrate when you got back every time?
We got whiskey. They gave us a shot of whiskey for each crew member, and if somebody didn't drink, we got his shot, and then we got interrogated.
How long were you in the war for?
I was in the war from 1942 to 1945.
Oh, I already asked that.
I was in the Signal Corps originally, and then I went into the Air Corps.
Which war were you in? Which war were you in?
World War II.
No, I know that. The people want to know.
How'd you meet Grandma?
I met Grandma, and I was a member of the B'nai B'rith of the AZA in Waukegan, and we were playing Kenosha in a basketball game in their synagogue, which had a basketball court. And I was playing basketball, and Grandma was watching her Kenosha team play us. And when we got all done, we went in the shower, and I forgot my gym trunks. And I remember this young lady sitting there cheerleading, and her name was Dorothy Hamill. So when I got home, it was a long-distance call from Waukegan. I called Waukegan. I found out her telephone number, and I asked her if she could go back to the synagogue sometime and get my gym trunks. And in the future, if I had transportation, I had no car, I would come back up and get them. And that's how I originally met Grandma.
What kind of injuries did you have?
Injuries?
None.
In the war?
Yeah.
I never got hurt in the war.
But you had friends that did.
I got friends that I lost my crew, most of them.
How was that? Well, how did that happen, Papa?
After I was through, after we lost our entire squadron, we were all separated. And I flew with whoever I was supposed to, because after we lost our squadron, we were all assigned to different squadrons to teach the new crew members that came in how to, we were their teachers. So I flew with other crew members, and I became a lead bombardier, and my pilot would fly with other crew members, my co-pilot. We were separated. And at the very end, after I had finished up, my crew was flying back together again, and we're not quite done, and they were flying on a mission over Austria, and they got shot down. And after they got shot down, part of my crew that was on this ship were alive. They were herded into a compound, and most of them were shot by the Germans. And they were prosecuted at the Nuremberg war trials for crimes against whatever he was. My navigator was shot down on his first mission, and he never returned to our squadron. He was a prisoner of war, and after a while, he were in a prisoner of war camp in Romania, and we outfitted all our airplanes with bunks, and went in and brought out 1,000 prisoners of war, and he was one of them, and he returned home. He never had a mission because he never came back, but he came back to the United States. My co-pilot lived, and he flew out with another, and he flew his 50 missions, and he returned to the United States. My ball turret gunner was from Indianapolis. He lived. Of the 10 guys that I went over with, those were the only 3 that lived of our original 10 that I...
What happened when you came back from the war? What'd you do?
I came back from the war. I went down to Florida for 2 weeks and was reassigned to navigation school in San Marcos, Texas. And I started to go to navigation school to continue my studies, figuring that we would have to go overseas. We were still fighting Germany and Japan. During that intern, I had communications with my wife, Dorothy Hamill, and we had agreed. And during my leaves coming home after the war, we became engaged and decided on a date to get married, which was July 7th, 1945. And they decided they would come down to Texas, where I was in the Army, with Dorothy's father and mother, Harry Hamill, Elise Hamill, and my 2 older sisters, Sarah Mason and Rose Davison, and they would come down and help me get married. And July 7th, we were married in Austin, Texas, at a rabbi's house, and we had the reception. And what was the name of the hotel? The Stephen F. Austin Hotel. And it happened they were having a big party there, and that was like my reception party. I bought the booze, and we had about 50 guys from the base with their wives, the ones that were married, and that was our reception. The next day, we went back to San Marcos from Austin, and we stayed there the next day, Dorothy's mother and father left for Dallas. Rosie and Sarah came back to San Marcos for a couple of days, and they took a vacation to Monterrey, Mexico.
Ooh.
And then Dorothy and I stayed in San Marcos at this house that her cousins had lived in from Orlando, Florida, who had lived there previously, and that's where we took the room in the same house. And that's where Dorothy had lunch every day, and I went to the base and worked. Came home at night, we ate, we went to the movies, we ate, went to the movies, we danced, and we had a good time. We lived there for 3 months.
Okay, so
July, August, September, and October.
we're running out of time on this video, so 1 second.
You ran out of time?